feeling comfortable with yourself, being able to be yourself no matter who you are or who you're with, and feeling good about that. Not going away from every single conversation that you have at work, with family, or even with friends, replaying what you said, second guessing what you said, or worrying about what they are thinking. Or the opposite of that, not really saying or doing too much when you're in those social situations because you are afraid of what people are going to think about you. So you hold yourself back and you don't fully participate in life. And you know that you don't want to be doing this, that you are missing out on a whole lot of joy and connection and fun, but you don't know how to make it stop. So what do? Well, today, that is exactly what we are going to be talking about. I'm going to be teaching you one simple skill to become more just comfortable in who you are. So you can feel good about who you are, no matter where you are or what is going on. But first, if you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you are back again, it is always good to have you here. Special shout out to my shifters who are watching today. It is great to have you. If you want to know what a shifter is, you can get more information about my membership community, the Shift Society. That is in the description below. Either way, my name is Julia Christina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my membership community, the Shift Society. I help heart-centered humans break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And this talk today was actually inspired by one of my beloved one-to-one clients. I've been working with this client, let's call her Susan, for a while now. And we've been really working on her feeling comfortable in who she is. She has a history of feeling anxious, very self-conscious, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, just really struggling with feeling good about who she is. And actually the opposite, feeling pretty terrible about herself and who she is a lot of the time. Susan would often second guess herself, would often, when she did allow herself to show up more fully in a social situation or interaction, would go away second guessing, overthinking, replaying, doubting, scrutinizing, self-criticizing. And those were just the times she actually let herself show up, because more often than not, she wouldn't. She would hold herself back. She would keep her mouth shut. She would not fully show up or participate in whatever it is that was happening because she was so worried, maybe even less so about what other people might be thinking about her, but what she would put herself through afterwards. The replaying, the scrutinizing, the obsessing, the stressing, the assumptions, the fears, the worries. So she just didn't. Fast forward to just a couple weeks ago when Susan and I were having a conversation, and she was at an event here in Vancouver, BC called the Big Gay Sing-Along. Now, I'm sad that it's already passed because this sounds like something that I would love going to, and it was exactly what it sounds like. It was a live event where I believe it was the Vancouver Men's Chorus got together, and they do this regularly, apparently a couple times a year, where they get along and have exactly what it sounds like, a big gay sing-along, where it's the choir that sings, leads the crowd, the words are up on the screen, and everyone gets to sing along and be together and feel the joy and the connection of singing along to these great familiar songs with a community of others. And I remember Susan saying to me, you know what, Julia? I had one of the best times that I have ever had because I just put aside any of that fear or self-doubt or the worry about judgment and let myself have my arms around strangers, dancing and singing and laughing and being ridiculous and being fully engaged in all of the joy that was around me that I have missed out on so many times in my life because I was so worried about what other people would think. I was so worried, more so even about what I would think about myself afterwards, looking back and being like, oh my gosh, What was I doing? What could people have been thinking? What does that mean about me? What does that say about me? And instead, I just let myself be in the moment and be fully myself. And I gave myself permission to do that. I used to think that it was other people that needed to give me permission to be myself. But I was the one that always held the key to that. So it made me think about this. It made me think about how much joy there is on the other side of stressing and obsessing about what other people might be thinking about us. Now, it doesn't mean that we never care about what anyone thinks, because we do have to take, some opinion into consideration so that we're not running around like, selfish or inconsiderate or rude humans. We have to be somewhat aware of how our actions are impacting others. But I think you know the difference between having a healthy level of self-awareness and a debilitating amount of self-scrutiny, of fear, of social anxiety, of self-monitoring to the point where you are watching every single one of your moves and then judging yourself for them, or assuming other people are going to be judging you for that. So what do we do? How do we do this? It's simple, but not always easy. First of all, we have to just accept that other people might be judging us sometimes. But the truth is, and this is a question I want you to ask yourself, what do those judgments entail? And are they as catastrophic as our brain makes them out to be? Let me give you an example. Several years ago, I was out for a run with one of my girlfriends, and she pulled over to the side. We were running along a beach trail, and she pulled over to the side of the beach path because she needed to tie up her shoelace. Her shoelace had come undone. And because I wanted to keep my heart rate up and I wanted to keep the kind of cardio going, I started doing some just little jump squats beside her while she was doing up her shoe. She looked at me as I was doing that and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Juliet, what are you doing? What are people going to think? You look so ridiculous." And I was like, "I'm doing jump squats on the side of a exercise path where people are running or walking or rollerblading, and I've just stepped to the side. And yeah, there's a lot of people out here and they can see me doing these jump squats. But to her, this was this completely embarrassing thing." So then I asked her, "What are you worried that people are going to think? What makes me doing jump squats embarrassing and like this social faux pas?" She was like, "Oh, I don't know. I guess you're right. What could they be thinking?" In this moment, she had this reaction as if this thing of like me drawing attention to myself, doing something that nobody else was doing. Nobody else was on the grass beside the beach path doing jump squats. Her thinking like, "Oh my gosh, my friend is doing this thing and it's drawing attention." But so what? What could someone be thinking? The worst thing that a stranger who we are probably never going to see again as we continue our run and keep going and are far away from there within a few moments, the worst thing someone could be thinking is, "Oh my gosh, look at that girl doing jump squats on the grass. Who does she think she is? That's so silly." Like, really, could someone be thinking anything worse than that? And if that's the worst thing that someone could be thinking, is it really all that bad? So I want to invite you to have this conversation with yourself, to do a little bit of this reality check, like my client Susan, who was laughing and singing and had her arms around strangers, having the time of her life. Taking a step back as her former self, and if that was the state that she was in, where she was still struggling with this anxiety and this fear of what people are going to think, really, what could someone be thinking that would be so awful? What is that thing that we fear so much that someone maybe might or could be thinking about us, it's not even guaranteed, that feels so unbearable? And when you answer that question, is it really that unbearable? So for you, if you are holding yourself back and thinking, "Oh my gosh, what are people going to think if I do that? What could someone think? What might someone be thinking?" Answer the question. What could they think? What might they be thinking? And is that really so awful? More often than not, it's really not. And once we engage our logical mind in this way, that fear goes down. I'm wondering, for you, in whatever it is that you have been struggling with or fearing or scrutinizing yourself about or holding yourself back from because you are worried about what somebody else is going to think, is it worth it? Is it worth denying yourself that part of your humanity because you are worried about what someone else maybe might or could think about you? And then ask yourself, what joy could I be experiencing if I stopped letting the potential thoughts of other people dictate how I show up in life, the decisions I make, and even who I am? If you want to learn more about how to develop that solid, secure relationship with yourself, I have a free guide for you. It's called How to Be Yourself Without Apology, and it's going to walk you through some steps to take this further and to start making those connections with yourself. Start building that comfort and confidence in who you are. But I want you to start with asking that question. What am I so afraid of? Really asking, not rhetorically, what am I so afraid of? No, answer it. What am I so afraid of? And is that really as awful as my brain has been tricking me into thinking that it is? Grab that How to Be Yourself Without Apology, get on the waitlist for the Shift Society, and let me know what connected with you here today. Until next time, take good care.